Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions with me, Almero. This is attempt number 4 to record episode 17. I got so frustrated with it last week that I gave up for a week. So, a lot of technical issues. I had been using that Reflector 3 to both broadcast and record from the iPad on my computer, and last week what was happening was, I'm not sure if it was just like the Wi-Fi connection would drop and or the Reflector would crash or something, but all of a sudden I would no longer be broadcasting to my computer and the recording would stop and then it would go away, nothing had been recorded. And that's frustrating, as you might imagine. So, my initial thought was to give up on the iPad altogether, restart the game on the PlayStation Portable, use a HDMI video capture card and a audio-video component to HDMI converter, and I may still do that for other games that are only on the PSP that I might want to do in the future if I keep going with this. But for now, the other thing I realized was, what if instead of doing the video recording on the Reflector 3, which only one time out of the 5 or 6 times it's crashed like that on me since starting this, only one time did it actually be like, oh, you had a video recording, do you want to save that? I thought, what if I use a different program to record the video itself? That may also put less strain on Reflector, and I might be less likely to lose the connection. I'm not sure. And so I did a little bit of looking around online and found OBS. And my wife was like, oh yeah, I used OBS when I was doing lectures over the summer, or the spring, for the online classes that she was teaching. And so this seems, I think I've got this set up. It should be capturing the audio from the game. It should be recording the video from Reflector, and then picking up my voice through my microphone. Basically the way I want it to be working. So, fingers crossed that this works fine and I don't need to do this again. But there is some missed footage and some stuff that I can't get back. So, let's see. So I'd gone into the tavern, and nothing new from the rumors, but I had done a few errands. And unfortunately, I can't go back and redo them once I've done them. But that's okay, there's plenty of errands to do. I will explain how they work at some point. I just really need to record something today so I start back into doing this and don't stop doing it entirely or anything like that. So, what I can do is we now have more stuff in the Chronicles. We have feats and we have artifacts. Oh right, that's right. Events are just the video of the cutscenes. So we have feats, and these are the 3 errands that I've done. So this was the first one. It was in Egros Castle. Mount Golg has not erupted for nigh on 5,000 years, yet dangers enough remain that few dare venture near. But we did, and it was at the bottom of that deep, dark shaft we saw her, a lady of flame. The locals tell of a young girl who stumbled over the volcano's rim, though the truth of it we could not say. Nonetheless, we erected a small shrine and offered prayers for the Mount Golg maiden. I think that team's Rack, Alicia, and Labian who did that one. They also, on that expedition, found my first artifact, which has made me a treasure hunter level 1, according to the Tavern Master. Calcabrina was inside of a rock, apparently. It was a strange rock, and they cracked it open. This was what was inside. First popular in regions where other forms of amusement were few, these dolls are now many a young girl's treasure. It is said their lifeless eyes harbor the souls of lost owners, which just makes me laugh. The first time I recorded this, I was literally laughing out loud about it. Having read it 2 or 3 times since then in my attempts to get this recorded, it is no longer as immediately funny, but I do still find it very amusing. Like, oh yeah, it's a doll for girls, and its lifeless eyes harbor the souls of lost owners, which is particularly funny because Calco and Brina are the doll enemies from Final Fantasy IV that you fight and they merge into one giant Calcabrina doll and split back apart if you don't kill it fast enough. It's a very creepy scene and fight, and the music is amazing. So it's very amusing to me that they put the doll in tactics as this like little thing here, and then also mentions its eyes harboring the souls of its lost owners. So. More thoughts on that. Oh yeah, I was going to say the errands and stuff, the artifacts that we find don't have any impact on the game itself. They are just fun little Easter eggs or little treats for little lore nuggets and stuff that kind of build up the world. And I never actually looked at them in the Chronicles before. I'd always be like, oh cool, we found that thing. Okay, moving on. So it's kind of nice to do this where I want to show people everything, and I'm even finding stuff that I myself had not seen before. So it's pretty cool, I think. I do notice that I hope my audio is not ahead too much of the video because I'm streaming it through 2 different things. It looks like it's there's a little lag. I'll try to look at the computer screen, not the iPad screen. So, the gold rush some years ago caused numerous towns to crop up at the foot of Mount Orbos, and for a time the mountain crawled with prospectors. However, the meager amount of gold found could not support the towns. The miners soon left, turning the villages into little more than ghost towns. All that remained of the miner's dreams were the tears of the old man who told us his tale. This was one that came from Garland, Magic City. I don't remember who went on that one. I know that so I did 2 of them at once. That required 6 of my generic units. So I know Demeta did 1, and Rack went on 1, and Lisha, Lavian Lad, and Cold Run all went on 1. Or maybe it was Errol instead of Demeta. I don't remember how I did it. And I deleted those videos out of anger. So, or honestly, I deleted them because I was like, you know what, I'm not going to post them, so sorry. But you'll see errands in a bit. Probably, maybe I'll do one today. So that was one, and then the other one is Message in a Bottle. Oh yeah, this is one where they were like, the bill for the errand is like, there's weird things down at the shore, we need somebody to investigate. And it's never happened before. So we looked into the items washing up on the shore near the city of Garland. We mostly found refuse from cities across the sea, but amongst the garbage we saw a small bottle containing a scrap of paper. Although we were unable to decipher the foreign script inscribed on the paper, it appeared to be a plea of some sort, which we are going to ignore entirely. And I'm just very amused that, like, the refuse from cities across the sea is washing up, and the people in this town are all of a sudden noticing it and being like, what is this weird stuff happening? But, like, the cities across the sea have probably been there for a long time. The setting of this world does not seem like they're founding new cities a lot. So, I don't know. These townspeople may be not the most observant. So, that was that. Okay. So I think maybe what I'm going to do, there is going to be more one or two more errands at Dorter, which I could do pretty easily, but I think what I want to do is see if I can't record, since I lost the recording. I want to see if I can show off Linolia, Plateau, and or the Fogelham Wind Flats as random encounters. So we're going to do that. Alright, Wind Flats it is. Who to bring? That has been a thief. Alicia, Lavian. Let's bring Alicia, Lavian, and Lad. The levels up. And they're no longer squares. I got everybody done. Oh, yes! And I brought in a new person. My friend Serena opted to join. She is currently an archer. Only level 3, so I still have to do some grinding to get her up to where everybody else is. But I got all 4 of the newbies through the JP gain, JP boost from Squire, so we can be done with Squire for now. That said, let's bring Demeta. Let's bring Brack. It's a slightly stronger team. The monsters in these locations, as I recall, can be much stronger than on Mandalia Plains. You're generally limited to a certain type of number of enemy. A certain number of types of enemies. Like Mandalia Plains only has the goblins, the panthers, and the choconos. But these other ones have different types of enemies that can show up. Here we go. Fogelham Wind Flats. I guess my other option is that I could potentially switch to my wife's iPad at some point, but I don't think that this one has a cloud save, so I'd have to start over that way as well. I'll double check that later, but... okay, so the meta's up first. Thieves are very fast. Let's take a look. We've got a floating eye. They're not particularly dangerous, as you might imagine. They can fly. But if you look, all they've got is wing buffet. So it's just a damage thing. It's not particularly dangerous. This enemy type, the Pisco Demons, these guys, again, are not particularly dangerous. They can do tentacles and that's it. Notice that these guys have yellow robes. There is a kind of Pisco Demon, Mind Flayer, Illithid, whatever you want to call these guys, the squid faces, that wears red robes. I think it actually is called the Mind Flayer in this. That one is very dangerous. We will go to a location where they can show up very soon. In fact, we may already be. This may even be a location where they can show up. Sometimes you can get multiple ranks of the same enemy type, I guess. Like there's the floating eye type, but there's different recolors of the sprite. Each type, each recolor can be slightly stronger. Okay. Oh, Rack doesn't know any martial arts yet. They're just really good with their fists. It's a monk. It's okay. So you see this. This is not the windmill where we thought we griff, obviously. It is a big cliff overlooking the river or something, probably. Or like maybe there's a river like just off screen here, off map. And this is like the bit where the shoot, what do you call this? The gullies, maybe? I can't think. the part where the water pools up because of the terrain, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. Alright. See, not particularly dangerous. They're very maneuverable because they can fly, but they don't hit particularly hard, so I'm not super concerned about them. I'm not sure that I'm satisfied with this solution. I'll post the video and see what people think. I'm not entirely sure that this is better. Well, it's definitely better than no videos because I get too frustrated with the game, or with the capture process. But I'm not sure all this lag, and you can hear the artifacts and the sound quality as well. I'm certain that's because I made the process more complicated. I'm not convinced that this is the ultimate. This is not maybe ultimately what I'm going to be doing. I really like the Finch tactics. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get this video done. I'm basically going to do this random encounter. Save this video, post it, see what it's like, see what people think of it. And I think I might start a second series that's on the PlayStation Portable using those adapters and the capture card, and just see if that's smoother video-wise. I'm not entirely sure what I'd like to do with that yet. Series-wise, I might just do the 20th anniversary Final Fantasy IV collection, just the first game. It is the first Final Fantasy game I ever played, and what got me into this whole role-playing genre, I suspect, to begin with. Remember, we got our Super Nintendo. I think I was in the 4th grade. My memory is a little bit strange. I classify my childhood by what grade I was and not how old I was. Which I suppose makes sense. Anyway, because the school year was the big event in my life at that point. So I'm like, how old was I in 1st grade? I don't remember. I was 18 at the end of, senior year of high school. So that's 12th grade, subtract 11, that makes it, I was 7? So I started 1st grade when I was 6, turned 7 right before the end of it, I have to do that kind of mental calculation to figure out how old I actually was at the time. But yeah, so 4th grade, we got a Super Nintendo for Christmas, I think. It was our very first console system. My parents did not want to get us a Nintendo or something or anything like that. And we did not get a second console until the PlayStation came out. And I saw Final Fantasy VII. But I do remember it was Final Fantasy II here in North America at the time, because Final Fantasies 2 and 3 were not released outside of Japan until significantly later, until the PlayStation era. Actually, Final Fantasy 3 wasn't released until the Nintendo DS era. So it was Final Fantasy 2 for us, because we had Final Fantasy on the NES, and then Final Fantasy 2, which was actually 4, on the SNES, and then they gave us Final Fantasy 6, which was 3 on the SNES. And then nothing for a while. And then we got Final Fantasy 7 on the PlayStation, and it was Final Fantasy 7. And it was like, wait, what happened to 4 through 6? Little did I realize it was different ones that were missing. And Final Fantasy 2 on SNES, or 4, was like easy version of Final Fantasy 4. The game was much harder in Japan originally. But that said, I still have very fond memories of it. It's one of my favorite nostalgia Final Fantasies. It's really hard for me to choose between 4 and 6. I feel like 6 has a better story overall. 4 is better able to develop its characters because there's, I think mostly because the characters spend some time in the party and then aren't there anymore, whereas in 6 you get a whole roster of characters that by the end everybody's there, so you have like the second part of the game where you have everybody available, but you're not really getting, oh no! Oh no, that was a trap! I forgot that was a thing. So, yeah, kill this guy. Alright, Alicia. So yeah, apparently there's traps, by the way. On some of these maps, if you step in certain squares, you could get doomed, like that was. You could be poisoned, etc. So, I'm going to go ahead and finish off my thoughts about about Final Fantasy 4 and 6, and probably call the video here. It's been 22 minutes. But yeah, so Final Fantasy VI has a part of the game where the characters aren't really being developed anymore. You're just kind of going towards the end of the story. Although there is still some development as you, for them as you go, but not as much as in the first half, and not as comprehensively. But whereas Final Fantasy IV, at least the original game, you just had your set party at the time, and characters would come and go throughout the story, but while they were there, you got to get to know them a bit better. Although it was an earlier game, so, story wasn't as well developed as it was that era. Things were okay. But I have a strong nostalgic love for these games, so I might start a game of Final Fantasy IV, just as a test, but also with the intent to play the whole thing. Final Fantasy IV is also one of those games where it's still short enough that I can probably get through the whole thing without losing focus. You'll note it's been several weeks since I did a video here, if you're keeping up in real time. That is due to the technical issues I talked about already. Just all files. The technical issues I already talked about, and also had computer issues where I didn't have access to my computer for a while, so that's where I record these things. And then, you know, missing out on a little bit, I just kind of lost focus, lost motivation to make the videos, except for this vague nagging shame that I wasn't making it. It's, you know, it's how I am. But here we go. I made one. So, and I'm intending to keep going. I definitely want to do this full game. I want to do other games. I do enjoy making these. I just have to get up the gumption to actually do it. So, anyway, there was a. Sorry for the randomness of my talking this video, and not really doing much in the game, but just wanted to make a video, post it, have an update about what's been happening. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the video anyway. I will try to start doing these more regularly again, and I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.